So if you are in this video, it means that you've decided to go on with the Surface Forge and you're interested to see what it's all about and how it functions, how to set it up and how to migrate it in your project. Now, if you got it on Fab or anywhere else really, it comes as a complete project, meaning that when you open it, it's just going to be the Surface Forge inside a folder like this. Okay, now you want to add this to your own project or you want to build something in here, that's fine. If you want to add it to your own project, just right click it, go over to migrate, okay? Then press OK and choose wherever you may want to migrate it. So for example, you might want to migrate in the Dark Ruin Megascan sample. You want to put that into the content folder of that project. If you want to put it somewhere else, I don't really know what other projects you might have, but let's say, you know, this MF development, you got in here content folder, select the folder, and that's it, and you just wait for the project to migrate. Now, once you do that, let's say this is your project that you've just, moved the Surface Forge to, or this is the Surface Forge project itself. You want to do some initial steps before proceeding. Now, Surface Forge uses virtual textures for mesh painting. So if you're in Unreal Engine 5.5 or above, mesh painting will be available for you. You can see it in here called Mesh Paint. If you don't see it, then you need to enable it. And I would also recommend you enable modeling as well. So you want to go over into edits, into project settings, and in here just type in virtual texture. Okay, and just enable virtual texture support, and you'll have in here enable virtual texture mesh painting. Now here's the thing, you don't need this if you just want to use this, but if you enable both, you're also going to be able to use virtual textures in the Surface Forge because maybe that's a pipeline that you're working with. And if you don't know what virtual texture, what that pipeline does, then I would suggest you look on YouTube for some videos around that as well. Right. The next thing you want to do, once you do that, you want to go over into your plugins folder and type in here Mesh Paint, and you'll see Mesh Painting. Make sure that's enabled, and also you want to type in, I think it's called Modeling Tools, and you got in here Modeling Tools Editor Mode. You want this on. You might also want this, but just this one is enough. Now in Unreal Engine 5.5 and above, I believe these come already enabled. Now to get things started, I would recommend that you open the Surface Forge folder. You don't need to know everything that's found in these folders, but if you do add filters in here, something like level, and you click that, you'll be able to see all the levels that are in the Surface Forge. Some of them are just prefabs, like for example, this is a old building prefab, and some of them are actual levels that you can look into to see, stuff like the old building or the decal zoo. But if I just go into the levels of the Surface Forge, I have in here Material Showcase, we have a blocking level, and we also have the big building level. We're just going to open the Material Showcase for now, which obviously shows all the examples that are available to you for the Surface Forge as a starting point. Now, one thing that we could enable straight away, something that's most likely going to be missing from your system, is native ambient occlusion will not work. We do have, however, fake ambient occlusion being blended into the base color, but if we want to have actual ambient occlusion, you could go over here to lit and change this over to lighting only, or I believe it may also be detail lighting. Yeah, either of these, right? And then you'll be able to see if you have ambient occlusion working or not on your meshes. Now, one thing that you could do is open the material here like that. And this is the detail panel. I don't want to bog you down with what's inside of it just yet, but we are going to go into the global switches here. And you see we have use fake AO channel enabled in here. Now you could disable that, for example, which means that now it's actually going to use the actual ambient occlusion channel, and there is a chance that there is nothing displayed, right? So if you go into these, I just want to go to these materials here and set their normal to 1, so I am flattening that normal, and then I'm going to go into material S, which is the slope material, so I'm going to make sure that the over here the normal is flattened as well. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to see if the ambient occlusion is showing up, and it is, right? You can see it right there. That's the ambient occlusion. Now if you're not seeing that when you've done this, either in detail lighting or in lighting only, that means that you don't have any ambient occlusion working in your scene. And by the way, if we do sort of like move the light direction here, you'll notice that it should be able to mask it. Now here's the thing, it's not masking it. Something else is going on. And what that something else is, because I said earlier that we got ambient occlusion, what we actually have here is we have the effect of the displacement itself causing this. So if, for example, we would have gone over into material property overrides and actually disable tessellation, we might not, yeah, see that there is nothing there. So our ambient occlusion lighting is actually not working at all. And this is where you want to fix this right now at the start of the project, right? So you go into your project settings and you want to look for indirect lighting, which will be found in a rendering in here. You will have to scroll down at some point. You will be able to see an option to disable this. So it says, let me just quickly find it actually. Yeah, oh, okay, this is it. Allow static lighting. You want to disable that, right? And then you can restart the engine to see the effect. So let's do that. And now we're back in the level and we are seeing lighting only, but like I said, you can change this to detail lighting as well if you want, although this is going to add the reflections and whatnot. So just keep it to lighting only. And we can still not see the ambient occlusion even though we disabled that static lighting. And then when you have a look in the global switches of the Surface Forge, right? You have in here use fake AO channel, that's been disabled if you don't need it, but you can also enable use standard AO channel. And once we do that, if you indeed have a slot in here, a slotted texture in the ORD channel, which is occlusion roughness displacement, if you have that, which I do, then you can see the ambient occlusion. And this is a very neat one because, as I said to you, this ambient occlusion is only visible wherever the light is not hitting. So it's actually creating proper ambient occlusion, which I'm sure is going to help you a lot. Now we're going to switch back into lit mode. And I will show you the difference with and without. Obviously, we have no normals right now enabled, so I can disable the standard AO channel. It's not that big of a deal, big of a difference, especially if I enable fake AO, we're going to get some of that. But if you enable standard AO, then you're effectively creating a more detailed lighting here around the areas where it's already shadowed. And then obviously you would want to unflatten those normals. So I'm just going to put these to 0, which is going to help to sell the effect even more because normals are very important in the pipeline like that. And that's it for that indirect lighting, which I think is very useful for people to know, and you may not even know that that's a problem that you have in your own project. But just to add the tip here, if you do need to use a static bake lighting for your project, then you can't disable this. You will have to enable it if you're going to use bake lighting. But if you are planning on using lumen or ray tracing shadows or anything like that, ray tracing lighting, then you can do what I've just showed you without any particular problems. Now that we've done all of that, it's time to actually play with the material instance. And right now, if you click on any of these meshes here in the world, they will have the Surface Forge loaded up, like you see over here. And you can click this magnifying glass here to check, to go to the folder where the material instances are. What I personally recommend is that you duplicate these and build upon them. But if you must create your own material instance for whatever reason, you can always go back into the materials folder and then go into main shader, and you have in here M Surface Forge. You can right click that and create a material instance. And that is your custom new material instance that has the default sort of values. You can drag and drop this on top of any surface like what I'm doing right now. Let me just make sure that I selected it, and I'm going to add it to all of these surfaces. Okay, so now it's using the default starting material. We don't have anything specifically done to it. You can obviously open it. Traditionally, when you open it, it will be something like this, right? Something maybe like that, and then you will have your viewport. So you'll have your all of these parameters here, but I generally just pull this out, you know, so it's easy for me to just kind of see the parameters themselves. Now, the next video in the pipeline will go through these parameters and what they mean and why you shouldn't feel afraid of using them. Most of this is based on switches. They're very self-explanatory. Everything has a description and everything has a function. And once we go through all of that, you will feel very comfortable in using this system and not having to worry about messing anything up. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.